The sun hangs low over a hidden desert oasis where a ring of palms shelters a bright pool. The narrator watches as ripples catch the last gold light and the place hums with small life. The oasis is a quiet stage where strange things tend to begin. We move in closer to meet those who will make trouble and mend it next. 3 honey-colored chimpanzees live in that pool's shade. The first is bright-eyed and curious with a blue bandana, the second moves gently and wears a yellow scarf, the third is practical and steady in a green vest. They laugh and bicker like family yet listen to one another in the ways that matter. Hello to them and to the small routine that keeps the oasis warm. Across the palm circle there is a single sage-colored chimpanzee who likes quiet mechanisms and neat plans. This sage-colored chimp moves with an economy of gesture and a pocket full of small tools, believing cleverness should be its own reward. The three watch the figure with a mixture of curiosity and unease. A crooked smile and a deliberate hand tell you this presence will complicate what was simple. One afternoon the three find a crinkled, grainy piece of found footage tucked in a clay jar, shaky frames of someone making an offhand wish at the pool. The footage feels like a hoax, stitched from laughter, but when a wish about small helpful miracles is spoken aloud something in the air tightens. The narrator notices how a tiny cause can spread like a ripple across still water. A human Italian pizza chef tosses dough in the air just beyond the palms, a bright white hat and flowery hands caught mid-arc, unnoticed by the chimps as the scene unfolds. The sage-colored chimp begins to test the strange new edge of wishes. Tinkering with small electronics found in abandoned gear around the oasis, the sage learns to reroute tiny signals. Soon a plan forms to widen the wish's reach by nudging navigation devices to point toward forgotten farms and lonely fields, where people and animals might be pulled into the wish's wake. The narrator watches a calculus of quiet ambition take shape. The wish begins to leak, a vine sprouts overnight across a courtyard, a rooster's crow turns into a whisper heard a mile away, and a jar of seeds dreams itself into a harvest. Small miracles arrive unbidden and bend routines. The chimps are thrilled and wary at once, because when the world changes without asking, kindness can be tangled with consequence. The narrator notes that sometimes help looks like mischief until seen clearly. A new argument slips in at sunset that has nothing directly to do with wishes. Does bubble wrap have feelings? One chimp thinks it does, another finds the idea silly, and the third tries to mediate. What begins as a playful debate climbs into a rift because each feels unheard, and small fractures complicate bigger choices. The narrator listens to the brittle edges of friendship when beliefs diverge. A quick pause in the story. If you're enjoying the chimps and the odd little miracles, please like and subscribe. And if you're feeling mischievous, type the word slop in the comments so the oasis knows you're listening. The narrator says this gently as if passing a cup around the circle. Now back to what happens when plans collide with friendship. The sage executes the plan. GPS signals around the oasis flicker and reroute, guides leading travelers and small trucks off course to remote farms where the wish's ripples gather. Strange harvests and inexplicable help ripple outward, and the sage watches from the shade, pleased as a gardener who thinks himself unseen. The narrator registers the steady escalation. Intent shaped into action can be quiet and sweeping. The 3 honey-colored chimps attempt to undo the misdirected GPS and calm the wish's wandering edges. They clamber through scrub, share tools, and try to reorient devices, but every fix the trio finds seems to open another riddle. Their collaboration is earnest, but the wish resists tidy solutions. The narrator feels sympathy for efforts that come from the heart but meet a stubborn world. As the technical problem grows, the bubble wrap debate sharpens into a full argument between two of the chimps. One insists compassion must extend even to inanimate things if it teaches kindness. The other worries that anthropomorphizing everything will blind them to real dangers. Their voices rise and the third chimp watches two friends pulling apart. The narrator registers how small philosophical fights can become fault lines in a crisis. At the story's high moment, one of the honey-colored chimps discovers a strange mark on their wrist that matches a seam on the sage's sleeve, a symbol neither expected. Fate, the narrator says softly, can stitch people together in ways that outlast anger. The sage pushes further, harnessing the wish's momentum, and for a time gains the upper hand, bending small miracles to a broader, colder design. The oasis holds its breath. While regrouping, the chimps remember a private detail. The sage truly believes the clouds spy on conversations, hiding messages and mischief in shifting shapes. The three turn that odd fear into a plan of compassion. If clouds are watchers, let them see something kind. The narrator watches how an unlikely belief becomes a key, because empathy sometimes unhooks a grudge faster than force does. They act not with traps but with an offering, songs, baskets of fruit, and small, earnest repairs to the sage's crooked devices, performed openly beneath the sky. The sage, confronted with unexpected kindness and the sight of cooperative effort, starts to laugh, something like surrender and something like relief, and the plan unravels. The narrator records that gentleness can be an unstoppable tool when wielded by a community. With the sage's scheme undone, the accidental wish that warped small things begins to calm. The found footage hoax is revealed as a misinterpreted prank from long ago. The devices are coaxed back to harmless settings, and the odd miracles settle into small helpfulness that the community can manage. The narrator notes how a problem solved through listening often yields a gentler afterlife than one crushed by force. Life at the oasis finds its rhythm again, and the chimps are not the same as before. They share stories, admit where they were wrong, and finally sit down to settle the bubble wrap question with laughter and a small experiment. The debate ends not with a declaration but with empathy. Whether bubble wrap has feelings matters less than how kindly they speak to each other. The narrator smiles at the small, human truth in their growth. Disclaimer: all slop in this story were generated using AI. The narrator offers this as a simple note, not a boasting, just a clear sign that the little strange flourishes came from a tool, while the feelings and kindness that wrapped the chimps together came from the imagination you shared by listening. And with that, the oasis settles back into ordinary wonder.